Hello, everybody. Can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, please enter it in the comments so I can please see. We're just waiting on a couple people, about 20 people, 30 people reserved, and we are waiting a little bit to see if anyone else is going to come. So please hold on tight. I'll be starting to answer very soon. All right, so since I have not seen anyone, I don't see anyone coming, so I guess we're gonna start now. And any people that are going to come late are gonna be late, and then I'll catch them up as we go. So, hello, as you might not know, my name is Nathan. I'm a real estate entrepreneur here in Pennsylvania. I work with realtors. I'm not a real estate agent yet. I'm going to be in a little while, but I do work with some of the best realtors in Pennsylvania, in the Pittsburgh area, Pennsylvania area. But I do have real estate knowledge that should cover the whole entire U.S. So if anyone wants to start asking questions, I will start answering them very shortly. I just want to give you a little bit back. I'm giving you a little bit of background about who I am, what I am doing right now. I don't know if anyone can hear me right now. So if you can, please enter it in the chat so I can know, please. It would be very helpful. Okay, so I know that Kent can hear me. Veronica, are you on with us? Can you hear me? I'm not sure if Veronica's with us. Well, let's wait. And anyways, I'll start. So welcome. My name is Nathan. If you missed the first part, I want to reiterate. I'm Nathan. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a real estate professional. I work with realtors, some of the best in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. But my knowledge goes around the state, country. So please enter your questions because I will go around starting questions right now. But I want to just get around to talking a little bit about the buying process first, since some people are looking. So basically, the best thing to do right now, if you are looking, is always what I would recommend is always just start getting pre-approved. Getting pre-approved is very easy. It's not a hassle. You can start anytime you want. Just email a loan originator. Just find one, email them, and say like, "Hey, I wanna buy a house. I want to know how much I'm approved for." They will ask for some documents, for example, some W-2s, your past tax history, and some your employment history, and they will give you a questionnaire to answer, and then you fax it out to them, and then they will from there run your credit score and make sure you can get how much you can get approved for. So please keep in mind that you can only get about your monthly payments usually cannot exceed about 20 to 30% of your gross monthly income. So please keep that in mind. So what I would do is take your current salary, gross salary, without don't the gross salary, take that and divide it by 12. That will be how much you will have to, that's how much you can afford for a house. And that has to include, please keep in mind that that has to include um, your mortgage, your property taxes, your utility bills, your food, your water, everything basically has to go under that umbrella. So please keep in mind how much you can afford before making an offer. So I haven't seen any really questions yet. I'm waiting for some questions to answer, but I can go around and do some talk about some real estate general things. So the process is fairly straightforward, and unfortunately, we don't have screen share on YouTube Live. But I the process is very simple. So it goes usually from looking to getting pre-approved to make an offer, and then that offer can either get rejected, countered, or accepted. And countered means they're gonna give you a different amount with different terms. Let's say I put an offer down to for another house, and that house I offered 10,000 below sticker, and I said there has to be a home inspection. That home inspection and a home inspection that can include pests, radon, etc. And the seller can then, from there, ask, counter me and say that you can get a home inspection, but I would not want to go 10,000 down. I only want to go, for example, $5,000 down. And then you would go back and forth. And then once you get an agreement you would have to sign what's called a agreement, a contract, a sales agreement, which would state what the buying term, how much you're paying, what the price is, what you're going to, when you're going to close on the house, which is basically when the house is going to get sold. 3 is going to include any contingencies, which is the like a home inspection, mortgage contingency, things like that. 4 is a I forgot. I apologize. It is a it is a it's the seller disclosure, which you have to sign to, and I will, in a couple minutes, I will talk about what the seller's disclosure is, and that's basically what the sales agreement is. And then both the buyer and the seller would sign and see what's going, and then that means that the house is officially contingent. After the sales agreement is signed, the buyer will have to put in the what's called the deposit or hand money or earnest money. There's lots of different terms about it. Just it's basically the deposit or good faith money, saying that you are going to go through with this deal. It's typically about 1% of the purchase price, but whenever you are competing with other offers, it is generally recommended that you should put in more than 1%. So because for some reason sellers these days want to see a higher hand money amount for the hand money. It's just something that just really is weird, and it happens all the time. After you put down the hand money, that money will go into an escrow account, which is basically an account that's holding all the funds that you have paid. And what that account will do is that's going to hold all the money, but just in case the deal goes through. But if the deal doesn't go through, you can only sometimes get the money back. And the only reason you can get it back is if there is a problem on the contingency, during the contingency. After the contingency, if there is any if the buyer wants to just walk out, they will lose their hand money, and the hand money will go to the seller, and the seller gets to keep the hand money. After the sales agreement, the hand money's paid. The buyer will get do all the contingencies like the mortgage contingency, ordering the appraisal, paying for the appraisal. If they're doing mortgage contingency, getting the home inspection done, any other things like that they specified in the sales contract that they want to have done. Um, After that, we will go. After that, we'll go to what's called the negotiation phase. The negotiation phase is the phase where the seller and the buyer will negotiate to see if they want different the amount reduced. And basically, it's basically the same as the sales contract. The negotiations for the price. You will go back and forth with the seller and see who, if you can agree. Maybe this you want 5,000, but the seller wants only 2,000. Only willing to give out 2,000. Maybe someone gives out 4,000. You want 4,000, but the seller only wants 3,000. It just goes back and forth, and then from there you can still walk out and get your money back because that is during the contingency. After all inspections, everything's done. The appraisal has gone well. You will go to something. I'm frozen. Okay, we're back. You will be going to pending, which is basically the sold stage. The sold stage is basically the sold stage, but it's not yet sold because you're still waiting on the sale date. If from that day, if you go into pending before you get the clear to close on your home, before the day the closing date is there, you can actually ask the seller to sign a paper, say that they would be able to they would agree to closing a little bit earlier than the sale date. It's up to them though. After pending, it will go to the sold stage. So at closing, you're gonna take a cashier's check. Cashier's check. It has to be a cashier's check payable to the closing company, and from there they will put down. You will pay them, and then they will actually split the money into they're gonna wire the money to all the correct places. So right when the day of closing starts, or a little bit before, you should start calling all the utilities companies, getting them in your name, calling every company that you can to get tell them that you're going to be taking over the house in the next few days or the day of. What I know that I said I was going to talk about the seller's disclosure, and I am right now actually. I see that another person has come online. Welcome. You may have missed a little bit, but you haven't missed much. The seller's disclosure is basically where the seller has to disclose, is a document where the seller discloses all the problems or anything that's wrong with the house. It's going to ask very general questions like how long you've owned the house, what the house is zoned for. Those things usually, the question that says what is the house zoned for, usually people don't know because they're not really the real estate expert there, but they might know, they might not. So sometimes they will say it's unknown. So don't worry, it's usually always residential zoned. And then they'll ask like basic things, other random things like have there been any pets that lived in the house? Are there any stains on the floors? How old is the furnace system? How old is the roof? How old is all those components that go into the house are covered and has to be disclosed correctly. Which brings me to the next point. Always always look for this. Sellers might not disclose everything correctly, and I always recommend the sellers, if you do not know something, if you're not sure about something, just check unknown. Don't say no, because if there is a problem, if that problem does come up, then you can get sued. The buyer can sue the seller, and the seller would have to pay all the fees back to the buyer that the buyer had to go pay to go after the seller for the damage, if there were any damages or if there were any problems. So please keep that in mind. Buyers, please be careful. I haven't seen this happen that much, but when I was negotiating for this house that I'm in, I helped negotiate the buyer. Those are my parents. We got a really good deal, but I had to negotiate, and the sellers actually wanted us to sign a paper that said, well, we anything that you have did, anything that we disclosed in the seller's disclosure, we are not liable for. Please don't ever sign that. That's basically you're signing your rights away. That's basically what you're doing. Never sign that paper. That just says that if there's anything that they disclose that is a problem, anything that they disclosed will not be liable for. Never ever never sign that paper. Never. I've only seen it happen once, but I just want to make sure that everyone knows that you should never ever sign that piece of paper. um, I haven't gotten any questions yet, so I'm going to ask one more time and see if there are any questions that anyone wants to ask. Please type it in the comment section. I'm looking, but I haven't seen any yet. Give me a second so I can type this up. So that's the sales disclosure. And about the appraisal. Appraisal. Always remember that the appraisal value. The difference between the only reason the lender wants you to get an appraisal is because it protects the lender just in case the home goes into default. And what is default, you might ask? Going default, the loan is in default means that the house is basically in foreclosure. The buyer, the owner hasn't paid their mortgage yet. They're gonna foreclose on the house, and the bank is gonna auction off. And okay. So if you reject to sign, that can they pull the house away from you because you didn't want to sign? Veronica, I don't really understand your question. Can you please reiterate in a different wording, please? I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly, and I don't want to answer it because if I want to answer it wrong. So I want you to please, if you can, please reiterate it in a different wording so I can see if I can understand it better. But as of right now, this is what I understand. If you reject to sign, sign. So if you reject to sign the what are you saying when you want to reject to sign? When I was talking about signing the saying that they will anything that they disclosed in the seller's disclosure that they won't be liable for. Oh, okay. That the one that I was giving out over your rights. No, they will. They might not. They might and they might not. Actually, this is the thing. This is the part of the counter offer. That's basically in the counter offer. If they are not budging, they might say, well, you have to sign it or we're not gonna sell it to you. That might happen. I can't guarantee that. It's not gonna happen. That can happen. But in this particular house that I negotiated for, they said, well, if you're not gonna sign it, we can't really force you to, but we really want to sell the house. So we'll just take it. It's fine. But in return, we want a higher hand money amount, which is basically your deposit. Any other questions? I'm still waiting for questions. Please answer them. I'm going to answer them to the best of my knowledge. In general, I have other things to point out. During a home inspection, I would recommend you be there because sometimes you want to point something out that they might not notice that you've noticed, like a small scratch small scratch on the walls or something. It's very small stuff that they will put in the disclosure and in the inspection report. And my recommendation is you should not always just like the smallest things. Just don't tell the seller just to give you money off that. For example, in this house, there was some cement that was cracked. We did put that in to the saying that we wanted money off from that just to build up our list so we can know all the problems. But just for that one reason, don't tell them to like give you money off for that. It's not really worth it because they're gonna get offended, and if they get offended, they might not want to offer. They might not want to work with you anymore, and then you might have to walk out. Or if they walk out, which brings up my next point. If they walk out, I have never heard that this happened before, but from my knowledge, if a seller walks out, they usually have to pay you back the hand money for sure, but I'm not too sure about this, but they will have to pay you back all the money that you paid out. For example, the home inspection, the appraisal if you have done one yet. All those little fees that you paid already, they usually have to pay you back. I'm not too sure, so please don't hold me against that because I've never seen it happen. But from my knowledge, that's what I know for sure that that might happen. But I'm not 100% sure because I've never seen it happen. Um, another thing is another thing. The contingency process is very simple. We when my parents bought their first house, I was there and I helped them all the way through it. We went we we went through it very quickly. It was very easy. It wasn't a hassle at all. Um, I I basically pointed out all the best tips I can give you right now on the contingency phase. I can give you any other questions. I can give you other points. Um, any other things that are in the contingency period are like very minor things that you don't really have to worry about because other people will take care of it for you. For example, the mortgage company will want the lender will want a paper title report, which is basically saying that the title is clear and free, saying that there is going to be no liens when the buyer purchases the house. There's going to be no other liens than the mortgage that they applied for. Which brings up another point where I want to point out that is going to go into the the selling phase, the pending and closing phase, which is I don't know. I have never seen a agent that hasn't included it, but be sure to include this. I totally recommend this because it's gonna save you the hassle. Even though it's like $100, it's totally worth it because it's what's called we call title insurance. And basically, what it is, insurance usually covers you anything in the future, but this covers anything in the past. So let's say, oh, I apologize. I want to get to this question real quick. What do you think your credit score should be before you start looking? As high as possible. I would recommend at least 700, 600 at the very lowest, 650 at the very lowest, up to like I don't know what my parents' score was, probably like really high. I don't know, but as high as possible. This is why lenders are gonna look at your credit score, and your credit score is what determines your interest rate. Even though interest rates are very low right now, you can get a higher interest rate than another person just because your credit score is that much lower than the other person. There's one other. This brings me to the next point that I was going to get to. You can actually do something that will lower your interest rate. This is called what we call points. What points are is you basically pay the lender a small fee, and in return they will subtract that many points. And points basically mean like the interest rate is gonna be reduced. For example, 1 point is gonna reduce it how many percent? How many percent of the interest rate? Usually it's very small, like 0.1 or something. So when I knew about another client, they paid $500 for 500 points, and that brought their interest rate down from 2.5% down to 2.25%, and they only had to pay $500 to lower their interest rate. Which brings me to another point about points. When you use points, make sure how much they cost first, because I know of one of my our friends. What do you mean by you asked them to do that? Can you please state it again? I apologize, but I can't understand. But in the meantime, make sure the points are make sure how much they cost first, because one of our family friends, they did not, when they bought their home, they saw the points and they said, oh well, this is gonna reduce our mortgage interest, and they paid them the points. But when they actually went to pay their mortgage for the first time, they noticed that how much they paid in points and the interest rate, they were basically going to be the same in the long term. So always make sure that the money that you're going to pay for the points are going to be less than the interest rate. It's going to save you the interest in the long term. You ask them, can you pay to reduce points, or they offer it to you. It's actually usually you can ask them, you can tell them like, hey, I want to see if you have a lower interest rate. The way I did it with this home was I said we had a different lender. We had two lenders at that point. We had one lender that was 2.5% and one that was like 2.3%. I 2.35 I think was what it was. 2.35, yeah, 2.35 and 2.5. So they said we told the owner, the lender that was 2.5, well, we really want to work with you, but we have another lender that's offering us 2.3%. Is there any way you can beat it or do it or lower it to 2.35%? And they actually said, yes, we can give you $1,000 closing to your closing costs, which I'll get to what closing costs are in a bit. Or they can say, we can beat it by a little bit, which is what happened to us. They said, we'll give you, you have to pay 500 points, but we'll beat your score down to your interest down to 2.25%. So you can ask them, say, I want to see if you have a lower interest rate, or you can say, or you can, they might offer it to you. They might not. It's kind of a secret because lenders don't really want you to know that sometimes, so they might keep it a secret, which actually brings me to another point that I always recommend people have, but they don't always have to have it. It's what's called an amortization table. It's a table that says how much money is going into your principal, how much money is going into your interest, how much money is going into your escrow. And this is what I want you to make sure when you apply for a mortgage. They're gonna have you sign a application called a mortgage application, and from that they're gonna say they're gonna have some small things that you might overlook, but you always want to have them covered. I'm gonna tell you them. One is make sure that the lender will not charge you an extra fee if you pay the loan off before the term ends. The loan term ends. Sometimes they charge you a fee, but sometimes they don't, and you always should ask that. What is a good interest rate number to get? It really depends on the economy and so many different factors. Right now, I'm seeing interest rates going from 2.75% all the way down to 2.25%. I would not, obviously 2.75 is towards the higher end and 2.5 is towards the 2.25 is towards the lower end. I would try to go to at least two lenders, different lenders, and see what their rates are, and see if they can beat it. And they see if the other can beat the other and negotiate the terms from there. Because everything in real estate, I'm going to bring this to you. Everything in real estate, believe it or not, is negotiable. Price, terms, everything is pretty much negotiable. So just make sure you negotiate and see if you can get a better term. Which actually brings me to a point about loans. There's so many different type of loans, but this is the loan that I will recommend you because I work the most with it. I work with other loans. I can work with other loans, but this is the loan that I'm going to recommend you get. Always get a fixed rate loan. This is what a fixed rate loan is. A fixed rate loan is a loan that the interest rate is going to be fixed. So even if the interest rate is going to go up, your rate is going to stay locked in for the rest of the loan forever, for the whole loan. But the only problem is if it goes down, it won't go down with your interest rate won't go down. Which brings me to a really good point, which says you could refinance. It costs about a couple $1,000s, but if the interest rate was low enough, you might think that it's worth it. For example, about 1 year ago, the interest rate that I saw was 4%, 4.5%. Believe it or not, in 1 year it went down almost half. So 4.5%. 4.5%. And let's say at that time someone bought a home, and now they saw that the interest rates are about 2.75 to as low as 2.25%. The buyer can, which is the owner of that home, can say that, oh, well, we see our mortgage is at 4.5% fixed, but we would want to go to 2.25% to get a less interest, better interest rate, a lower interest rate. They would refinance. You can call your lender, say, I want to refinance. Or you can call different lenders and say, well, we have a loan, but we want to refinance our loan. They will help you. They will go with you about the fees and everything that will go through with refinancing. The second type of loan is what's called a ARM, adjustable rate mortgage loan. And what that is that the rate will go up and go down. So it's a good thing if you're gonna stay. If like some residents, some medical residents, I see, I know that they have a lot of cash. They might say that, well, we'll buy this house and for a few years, and they say, well, it doesn't really matter if the interest rates go up or down, really, because we're just gonna stay there short term. So they might choose an ARM just in case the interest rates might go down a little bit. They will save on interest, but it's always a risk. That's why I'm telling you, if you're gonna get a long mortgage, like a 10, 15, uh, 30, even maybe 5, you were talking about, oh, you didn't get what an ARM is. You want me to reiterate what an ARM is? I will do that actually right now. An ARM is an adjustable rate mortgage. Adjustable rate mortgage, ARM. And what that is that it's basically a mortgage where the interest rate can go up or go down. That's the best way. That's the best short way to explain that. I can go in more detail if you would like. And please leave a comment if you would like me to go into more detail. But I'm going to go to another loan type right now. There are actually two other loans. One is a VA loan, which is for veterans. And one is an FHA loan, which is a government loan mortgage where they can give you some money to give you they will give you some money to help you make your mortgage, get a mortgage. But always in multiple offers, it will go from cash to fixed rate mortgages, and then FHA loans at the bottom, because obviously those require more paperwork and they're trickier to process. There are there in the spectrum of mortgage payments, down payments, things like that. I can recommend that you look around, but there are some type of, I've seen some real estate companies that have mortgage representatives, and if they have connections, they might give you a better rate, which can happen. I've seen that happen. But there are actually different type of mortgage applications that you should look out for. The two that I see the most are a regular application, mortgage application, and one for doctors. And the advantage of the doctor one, which you have to be a physician or a doctor, is that you will not have to put down a down payment. That's just because they know that doctors usually make a lot of money and they will be able to cover all their mortgage payments. There are, if you have any other questions that I might not covered, please let me know. I will be more than happy to answer all your questions. That's basically all about mortgage. I'm gonna go on to a little bit about the pending stage and the appraisal and everything like that. So this is what an appraisal is. An appraisal is basically how much is the bank hiring someone. It cannot act by law. It cannot be the appraiser from the lender to avoid bias. But they will hire a independent appraiser, and they will come to the property, appraise the property, and see if how much the value of the property is. Which brings me to a really good point that I want everyone to know. In this day and time right now, because of the pandemic, I don't know why, but the housing market right now is super hot. So houses are going over asking, but I want you to pay attention to this. The bank will not care if you're paying too much for the house in certain circumstances. I'm going to go over that right now. Please listen carefully. The bank only cares about a 20% gap between the purchase price and the appraised price and the down payment, which is usually 20%. And it can be lower. I'll get to that in a bit. But the the lender only cares about that 20% gap. And let's say that's only because they only need 20%, because you're not financing. You're pretty much not financing the whole purchase price usually. So that's why they only care about the 20%. So that's why I always recommend you always look at what the appraised price is. If it's appraised higher, then I would recommend you go back to the seller and say, well, we offered you this X amount of money, but well, the house has only appraised for a little lower, so we would like you to at least go down to that price at the very minimum. Go down to that price. They but obviously in this day and age, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, I don't know. I don't think that's really gonna be helpful, because houses are so hot right now that people really are paying over what the house is worth by 5, 10, $15,000. It's just something that's happening just because the housing market is super hot. So please keep that in mind. Oh, down payment. I was talking about down payment. I was gonna get to that. Down payment. Down payment is how much money you're gonna put towards your loan, your mortgage. And that has to be paid at the day of closing, which is the sale day, the day of sale, the day that you own the house. The house is gonna be title's gonna be transferred. They it's always gonna be the standard is 20%. I've seen it go for 15, 10, and 5%. You usually want to avoid that. This is the reason. A, the banks don't really like that. And B, you're gonna have to pay what's called property mortgage insurance. It's basically an insurance that you have to pay. It's like a couple $100 a month extra that you have to pay, and that is basically insurance for the lender, saying that if you foreclose on this house, that there's gonna be some insurance that's gonna pay out something for the lender so they can get their money back somehow. That's why I always recommend you go at 20%. If not, you can go more out. If you can go more, always go for more. The reason is your interest rates actually gotta go down if you put more towards the down payment, which brings me to another really good point. There's basically two options, and one is actually better than the other. But there's actually three options. My bad. But one is actually better than the two in certain circumstances, and lots of people don't know this. I don't understand why, but they just make the mistake of doing this, and then they don't know, and then when it's too far along in the mortgage, they find out, they're like, oh no, I made this mistake. Always choose when I know that some people say that you can make additional extra payments in addition to your monthly payment. You can pay a little bit more. Never pay it towards your escrow, just because that's basically all your escrow is gonna do is cover your property taxes, your insurance, and things like that. Always put it towards the principal pull. That's because if you put it towards the principal, it's gonna make your principal go lower, and the interest is actually only going onto your principal. So if you're reducing your principal, you're also reducing your interest rate. And I don't know why people just don't do that. They just put it towards the escrow because they're saying that it's free money because the interest rates are so low right now. Just don't do it. Just save yourself the money. Just put it in the principal. I always recommend that. There is also another factor that I was saying that I would only recommend this if it's a 30-year loan. And this is if you sign a paper and you tell the lender, I am going to make 13 payments a year. Usually it's 12. But if I make that one extra payment, in return, I will get about half the term. It will go up to about a 20-year term loan instead of a 30-year if you just make that one extra payment. But if you're doing it for a 15-year loan, it's only gonna go from 15 years to 11 years. And you're just gonna pay. It's really up to the buyer, the owner, the person who's taking out the loan, honestly. But that's just what I recommend: is just don't do it for a 15 or 10-year loan or 5-year loan. Another reason I don't really always recommend this really is because that some people might not this month. If you sign that paper, you're saying that you're basically promising that you're gonna pay 13 times a year, 13 payments a year, and if you miss a payment, you're gonna get fined for that. It's about $100, $200 for a fine. Which brings me to another point of a monthly payment. This is what I recommend. This happened to us when we bought this home, and it was a really big headache to go through it. I recommend people take care of this earlier. It's basically that times for some weird reason the if this is basically what it is. If you're going to go through, I don't know if this is not in all the states in the U.S., but Howard Hanna, for example, is a lender, but they don't lend out any money. They are only they are going to sell your loan to another lender right after you close. And I'll get back to selling loans in a bit. And they will sell your loan to a different company like Wells Fargo. And Wells Fargo is gonna be the one who's gonna issue your loan, is gonna give the money out for your loan. And basically, this is the thing that I've seen happen, and it just is a big headache to go through. At closing, they're gonna give you the first month's coupon, just in case. Like, let's say in the first month, this lender, you haven't gotten your new lender yet. You'll pay it to your the lender that you used, the mortgage company that you used to help you with the mortgage, get the mortgage. If they don't process and sell your loan, and you don't get that first month's coupon and you don't pay, you're gonna get in big trouble. You're gonna get fined, and your credit score is going to go down just because you didn't pay that. And also, if after the first month and going in towards the second month, and you still haven't gotten if you haven't gotten what's called a welcome package from the new lender stating that you have gotten the old lender has sold your loan to a new lender, just call your old lender and say, hey, I haven't gotten this welcome package yet. I haven't gotten a letter from your company, which is called a goodbye letter, that states that the loan has been sold. Please give you a second, third, fourth, fifth month coupon. Give you another couple coupons so I can pay it, because I don't want to miss out on my payments. We made the mistake of waiting a little too close to the second month to do this, and we had to go through that huge headache to deal with that. So I hope you take from us and then learn that problem. Any other questions, please? I'm looking at my inbox. I don't really see that many other questions, so please comment any questions that you have. There are another couple things that I want to point out, that these are like really itty bitty things that it's almost always a secret that no one is ever going to tell you about. And I know this is because I work from experience, and I experience everything, and I am giving you all my experience. So this is basically another thing that you always have to look out for. It's what we call I suddenly forgot. I apologize. It'll come back to me. Anyways, after I was talking about the mortgage and appraisal, you're gonna go to your lender, and you're gonna go to your day of closing, and that is basically the day of closing is the day that you're gonna get the home. But the day before, make sure you do this, because some people don't do this, and then when they buy the home, they're done. They're gonna regret it because there's a problem in the house. The day before closing, just do the walk around, what we call a walk around. Just walk around the house, go inside, check out if they took anything that they didn't, and make sure that everything is in good order, that the house is still working. Run the water if the water is still running. Turn on the heat, make sure everything's working. Just because they might have vacated the property a month or so, a couple days, a month, or a couple months or a year before they sold you the home, they're selling you the home, and they're in that time anything can break. And even from the day of inspection to the day of closing is usually a month and a half to about a month and a half, and anything can break in that time. So I recommend you go there, just take the hour or 2 hours, and do it. It's worth it. The reason I would say that you should do it the day before closing, or even better, the day of closing, is because the seller's already at the day of closing. They're not gonna really want to just not give you the like couple $100,000 that you're asking for. They're really not gonna. They're just gonna give you that because they don't want to risk you just leaving the deal, because you're already at the day of closing. They don't want you to leave the deal, and then they're gonna have to go all the way back to the start, which is the active stage where the house is listed again. excuse me, other buyers might think, oh, there's a problem with this house. This house didn't sell. It went contingent, but there might have been a problem where the house isn't contingent anymore. There might be a problem. We won't buy it. I've seen this happen so many times. Houses that go contingent that come uncontingent can actually not sell. I know a house that's on the market right now. I'm not allowed to say what the address is, and I'm not allowed to say what's wrong with the house because I can get sued for that. But what I can tell you is that house at the end of December last year, the beginning of December, they listed that house. It was a very competitive asking price. It's a really good deal. It went right away. It went contingent right away. But then 2 weeks after, because of the contingency period, the house went back on the market. And believe what? The house is to this day is still on the market because for some people might think that, oh, there's a problem with this house because the house has went contingent before and now it's back on the market. I'm not saying that every house is gonna have that problem because I've seen houses that went contingent, that went uncontingent and go back to contingent in a couple days, weeks, or months, or very soon. I've seen that happen. So don't think that it's always a problem because it might not. There's so many different factors that can go into a house not being going to uncontingent, which is what I'm going to talk about right now. What it can mean is that the house is basically had a minor problem that the seller and the buyer did not agree upon. That is one reason. Another reason is the buyer might not have been able to get a mortgage for some reason. They were denied a mortgage, so they would walk out and get their hand money back for that. Or maybe the seller walked out, which I've never seen happen. It can happen, but I've never seen it happen. Or maybe there was some problem with the appraisal. The appraisal was too low with the purchase price. It was appraised lower than the purchase price, way lower, and the seller didn't want to go lower. Then the buyer might walk out for that. So there are so many different factors that goes into contingent that may go into uncontingent. So just don't think that it is uncontingent is a problem. Which brings me to a point about uncontingent. 99 out of 10 homes is a mortgage home with a home inspection. Please always get a home inspection. I've seen so many people that don't get a home inspection just because they're competing with another offer. It's not worth that risk. It's a couple $100,000. It's couple $100,000 home. Just that doesn't. It's always worth the $1,000, $2,000 that's gonna go out that you're gonna have to pay just to get the home inspection. My bad, my apologies. The home inspection, and it's gonna save you the hassle. I've seen a house that had a major foundation issue. The house. Bad Wi-Fi problem. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. Wi-Fi problem. Maybe the house. I've seen one house that had a major foundation issue, and luckily they did a home inspection, and the buyer was protected by that, and they were able to walk out. But let's say the buyer didn't get the home inspection, and the house had a major foundation issue. Then they would probably not know. And then when they went into living in that house, they would find out that problem. And the foundation repair can be very, very expensive. I've seen it go for $100,000. Maybe it's a minor repair that it can be like a couple thousand, 10, 15 grand, but it can go really expensive. And it's just not worth it. I always recommend you, it's a must, in my opinion, to have a home inspection. Which actually brings me to a really good point. Be careful what you're picking for a home inspection. If you're working with an agent, your agent should talk you through about this. There's basically what's called ASHI organization, and that organization is gonna list the best home inspectors that are in your area, and they're going to tell you they're certified. They ASHI certified. That means they're the best of the best. They've been certified. I would always recommend you go with those because those people have been certified. But obviously, if you have someone that you know, like a relative or something, that's gonna do it for you, maybe they're doing it for cheap or for free. Maybe just go with them. by all means, go with your relative or your friends. But that brings up another point. Never go for the cheapest one. Just don't. It's never a good idea with anything. Basically, just don't go with the cheapest one. I think a lot of people might have said that before, but some people are so cheap that they just go and they Google it, say cheap home inspections, and they call and they choose the cheapest one that they find. That person might not be the best person to choose because they might not be the most experienced. That means that you're not going to get the full peace of mind or the full protection that you're going to get with someone that's going to cost maybe double or triple. That's why I always recommend don't go with the lowest, but don't go with the highest. Because some people that go really high are going really high just to rip you off. But just go with the about average, the medium, the middle is what I recommend. I'm talking about the home inspection, which brings me to another point about home inspections. If the house is going contingent and they have gone uncontingent in about 2 weeks, that means there's a negotiation issue with the most likely 9 times out of 10 it's a negotiation issue with the home inspection. That would mean that they have done a home inspection already. It's up to the buyer, honestly, but I would recommend you not to do it really, except if you're having a person that's gonna do it for free for you again. But basically, if you're gonna hire one home inspector has been hired, but then a home inspector, you hire another home inspector, they're gonna 9 times out of 10 just detect right out the same problems that the first inspector might have said, and that's just gonna waste your money, your time. Just what I would recommend is just to waive the home inspection just in that one case. That's the special case. I've seen so that's why brings me to another point. If you see a home you like, just if you really like it, just you should ask your realtor ASAP. Hey, I want to go see that house. Can you take me ASAP to see that house? I really like it. I want to put an offer down, I think. But before that, if you want, you can go out, find the listing agent's email. I've done this all the time. Find the listing agent's email. Ask for the seller's disclosure and for the reason they are selling the house. And if the house has been contingent and then uncontingent, tell them, ask them why it was uncontingent and ask for the inspection report if possible. I've seen so many people who don't ask for the seller's disclosure. And I actually know an agent. I'm not going to say their name because I can get in trouble for that. But they worked with one of my friends, our family friends, and they never told our family friends about the seller's disclosure. They just got it from the listing agent, but then they never showed it to their client. And then that client would never know of any problems because even though the buyer's agent is supposed to protect the buyer, they might not always protect them the best. So that's why I would always recommend you make sure you get the seller's disclosure. It's a real estate secret that not a lot of people know, but always ask for the seller's disclosure. Another thing I want to say is pictures. I'm not going to say this just to tag out one house. This is for all houses. Pictures just don't do the justice. I'm going to tell you that. I see so many houses that look really terrible in pictures, but then when I go see it in person, I like it. I've seen houses that are really nice in pictures, but then when you go there, it's really old or there's something bad that's going on, some problems with the house. That's why pictures never do the justice, which brings me to a point that I don't know why some people do this and they miss out, and because of that, they miss out on so many great deals. If you see a house that you like, just tell your agent, I want to go see that house. Just don't wait for an open house. The reason why sellers might not want to do an open house because they have people just to free roam their house. And another reason is because open houses might attract people that are not qualified. For example, some people that really like real estate, like myself, I'm not able to buy a house, obviously, but maybe I see a really nice house that's like $20 million on the market. That's on the market. I see an open house. I might go there. I just want to check out the house. I'm not gonna buy it, but I just want to check it out. That's why some sellers don't like to do open house, and that's why. Another thing about price. If the price is too low, that most likely will mean A, the house is gonna need a repair, some repairs, or B, there's gonna be bad major issues with the house that is gonna it's not gonna be worth the headache if you're a first time buyer. I guarantee you that. I went to one house. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna give you the address because one A has been sold and B I'm not allowed to give out addresses. But I went to this one address, one house, very nice house. It was in our budget. We really liked it. So that same day that it listed, 1 hour after it listed, we drove right to that house and we said, "Well, we want to go see it that same day tonight. I want to go. We want to go see it." Well, it was 7 p.m. You're not allowed to go into a house with your agent after 8 p.m. So we couldn't do it. We unfortunately couldn't do it. So we did it the next morning. But we said we wanted to go there right away because we knew that if we waited, this house would 100% go go will go contingent in a couple of days, and 99% of the time, and not we knew not most likely 99% chance that it will go over asking, and it ended up going 20,000 over asking. But that house, we knew when we looked into it, we knew even though um it was a lower priced home for the area. It's a really good area, really expensive area. But that house was surrounded by $600-700 million homes, and that house was only sold was in the 300-400s. I'm not giving you the exact prices, I'm not allowed to. But it was in the 300-400s range. And when we went to see that house, when we looked on pictures, we saw some really old. It was kind of dated, but we thought, well, it was slightly dated. We could just update it, bring it up modern, but it would still be a good deal. But in justice, when we went to that house, we saw so many problems that the pictures didn't point out. For example, the foundation was cracked. And this brings me to a really good point. When you look in a foundation, I'm going to actually draw this out on my piece of paper. Always look for this. If you see this type of crack right here, that is what we call a step crack. Those are normal. But if you see just like these type of cracks, like lines like this in the foundation, in the basement, this 9 times out of 10 means that there is a foundation issue. And one more thing about step cracks. Step cracks can be normal, but if they're really wide apart like this, that also means that there is foundation issue. And that house had mold in it, and it was terrible. And in the garage, the ceiling was so cracked that they had to drive bolts and everything onto the ceiling so the ceiling wouldn't fall. That's why we didn't see those pictures in the listing, because they didn't want to show those pictures, because that might not attract some buyers. Some buyers might see that and say, well, we don't like that, so we're gonna not want to go see that house. That's why they might not show you those pictures. Which brings me to a point about pictures. Another point. Pictures, even though they don't do it justice, they also are not always accurate. Like when I went to that one house I was just talking about, on the pictures there was a really big water spot, what looked like a water spot on the ceiling. And then we thought it was a water spot. We pointed that out to ourselves, saying that when we go see this house, we're gonna have to look at that. We're gonna have to go look at that and make sure it's not a problem. It's not a water spot. There's no leaks. So when we went to see that, it turned out it was actually just paint that was a little bit darker than the rest. Maybe it was been patched up or something, not the right color. So it looked a little bit darker than the rest of the ceiling. So that's why it stood out. And it looked like a watermark, which we thought was a leak, which brings me to so many different problems that I want everyone to look out for when you go to a house. If you go to a house, I would recommend you do this. Go take like a small marble or something, just something really small that can roll. Put it at one end of the room. If it goes down one end, if it's sloping down one end, if it's rolling down one end, that means that house is leaning towards that one side, and that's a foundation issue. That's a serious issue. If it's leaning down, it's gonna roll. That's why I recommend you take like a marble or something to a house. Second thing is check check up if you can. Check up on the attic. Maybe it's a some attics are a ladder. Like in my house, it's not a ladder. It's a you climb up, but up some stairs. So I could go see it if I wanted to. But some places there you have to climb up a ladder. That means you can't go see it. But if you can go walk up, like it's in a room or it's in it's up some stairs, then go take a look. Make sure that there's good insulation. There's no mold or anything. It's in good health. It's okay basically, which can save you from putting down your offer. But then you going to an home inspection and they're saying that, oh well, there's an issue with the foundation, and then you're gonna be losing out on all that money because the seller's not going to be liable if you walk out. The seller's not going to be liable for your all the funds that you have paid to the house. Just keep that in mind. That brings me to that really good point in a home buy. When you go to a house, just pay attention. Just please, just take as long as you can. I know that you might not want to miss out on work or you have a really important event coming up. I totally understand that, but I would like to advise everyone, just take as much time as you can. Look at all the small details. See if there's any like cracks on the walls or anything, just to make sure that the house is okay before you go buy it. Go if you can see a toilet, just go flush it. Turn on and off the water. Make sure the pressure is there. That's what I would do and go do when I'm at every single house that I go tour. That's what I always do. That other things that I would do is I would go outside. I would take a look up because I don't have a ladder, but if I had binoculars, I would look up on the roof, see if there's any missing roofs or anything. I would go down to the basement, check the foundation, check the back retaining walls, check everything. Just try not to leave anything behind, just to make sure everything is going well. Everything's good before you put down that offer, because once you sign that offer and you walk out for no good reason, except for a contingency problem, you're gonna lose that hand money and all the fees you paid. But if you walk out because of a contingency problem, you're gonna lose all your fees, but you're gonna get your hand money back. So please be careful, everyone. Another thing, I know I'm taking a little longer, I know, because I want to make sure everyone gets this. Another thing I want to recommend people is always just look at the different type of roofs that are on the house. That can be a really good factor, and that could be a really good factor on the purchasing of the house, because I would give you, there are 4 types of roofs. A tile roof, which lasts about 15 to 30 years. A slate roof, which is most common, which is also 15 to 30 years. A slate roof, which is actually the longest and most expensive, because they last almost forever. So slate roofs, I would go into a little bit more detail because they're very important. I just learned this morning because we just got our gutters cleaned and we learned something new about slate roofs that will factor in. Slate roofs, they're really expensive. They're about twice as expensive, but they're worth it in the long term if you think about the long term, because you don't have to replace it. The base of the roof stays the same. The only thing that you'll have to replace in the roof, is the individual slates, which are like these rectangular pieces. You just have to, like, if they fall off, just hire a roofer put a new one on. That's the only maintenance you have to do on a slate roof. While a shingle roof will only last 15 to 30 years, you have to replace one, and it costs about 30 grand. Shingle roofs, metal roofs are obviously the cheapest, but they look really ugly, but they're the cheapest and they last still about 15 to 30 years. And tile roofs also last 15 to 30 years. But also one more thing that I almost forgot about slate roofs. Slate roofs actually can crack really easily, so they're very fragile, which it's a thing that to think about in the term of a roof. If you're replacing one, or you're looking at if you're replacing a roof, or you're looking at a house with a slate roof, that the slates can crack really easily. They're very fragile. So doing maintenance, like when we had our gutters cleaned, they were going to cost more than a shingle roof, a little bit more, because if you walked on a slate, the slate would automatically crack and then you would have to replace the whole slate. that new slate, which is not very expensive. It's about $4 or $5 a piece, but it's a hassle because you have to call someone there and they might not show up. Which brings me to a really good point about contracting and lots of things that when you call when you purchase a home, you might call like a contractor to come see the house. Just make sure the reviews are good and make sure they don't charge you the cheapest price. When I got my gutters cleaned, um, can you request to know when your roof was replaced or repaired and what they did? I was actually that brings out a really good point, Veronica. I was actually gonna go get to that when I was talking about the detail about the seller's disclosure. By law, in the seller's disclosure, there's actually a section that will say when was the roof replaced. Yes, no. Do you know when the roof is placed? Yes, no, unknown. If they don't know, they'll check unknown, but they'll put the year in if they do know. And then there's a second part where it says, do you have documentation? For this home, we had our home built in the 40s, in the 1940s, and the slate roof was the original slate roof. So the documents are like 70+ years old, so they might have been lost sometimes. So we didn't have the documents, but we still had a roofer and in our home inspection check out the roof, so we were fine on that. But by law, they have to disclose the roof, how old the roof is, if they do know. Some people might lie and they don't correctly disclose it. So that's why I say if you're new, that's why I say that never sign that document that says that we are not liable for anything that we said in the disclosure. That's why I said that. Another thing that they're gonna have to disclose in the roof section of the disclosure is that they're gonna have to say they're gonna ask, are the gutters in good shape? Are they connected to the public system? Lots of people might not know that. 9 out of 10 people do. Some people don't. It's fine. Are there any problems with the gutters? If they check yes, you should ask. They might not. Some people that are really, really specific and they're really detailed, they might say, "Oh, we did this because this happened." Maybe like a squirrel jumped on it or something, and then it cracked the plastic gutter. They might say that if they're nice enough to do that, but if they don't, always just ask. That's what listing agents are for. And if you're working with if you're yourself, if you're working through another agent, if you're working through an agent, then ask your agent, tell your agent, hey, I have this question, please ask the listing agent this question. Or if it's a sale by owner, just ask directly the owner, say, hey, there's this, I have this question on this disclosure, please answer it for me. There's another thing that they have to say, is there any problem with the any present or past problems with the roof? And lots of people might say, people who say yes might not say that what the problem is. And again, just ask. That's what the agents, that's their job. Just ask. Don't think that you're ever bothering them because you're never. That's their job. Their job is to answer any of your questions, and they are the buyer's agent is always there to protect the buyer. That's their only job. They're there to protect the buyer, make sure they're getting a good deal. I have another thing I have to point out on the sales contract. Again, also called the sales agreement is some people might put an addendum, and I'm going to tell you about this. I know one house. The seller said that we were going to take out all the light fixtures in the house and replace them with the cheap Home Depot lights. But then we realized that it would be a hassle. I'll pause that. What about houses that cover up chimneys? How can you find out due to that behind the wall? So every house, 9 times out of 10, the house has a chimney. My house, this house that I'm living in right now, doesn't have a fireplace, and we have a chimney. That's what you can call a roofer, a dedicated roofer, to go up to the roof. They can go around and check. What I did when I got our gutters cleaned out, we told them, well, when you have the ladders up, can you just take a look, see if there's any missing slates or any problem with the roof, and just let us know. One company I knew, they took their own drone, they flew it up there, and they took a camera, they looked around. It was really expensive, but they looked around really carefully, and they said, well, that there are no slates missing, there are no problems with the slates. That's why I always recommend just get a home inspector will take a look, but if there are some problems. There are some restrictions. Maybe the roof height is too slanted, or it's too tall. The house is too tall. They won't be able to reach it with their standard ladders. They will not look at all. They'll just look with binoculars. That's why I would recommend you just get, if you can, get a regular roofer out and just see what they say. Which brings me to a good point about the what back to what I was saying about the light fixtures. They said they're going to replace all the brand new light fixtures that they had in the house, which are really expensive, with the cheap Home Depot lights. And they said, well, we didn't want to do that because if we did that, that's going to decrease our value of the house. And then the buyer's agent, she heard that, and she said, and then when her client put down the offer, she put in the addendum, which is it's basically an extra page that is going to go to the contract. It's like, if there's like something that's not in the contract that they want to put in the contract, the seller or the buyer wants to put in the contract, they will put it in the addendum. So what they might say is, well, my client, that you would have to leave all the light fixtures. That's what she said, because they were gonna take all the light fixtures. She said, we want all the light fixtures to stay in the house. They have to stay in the house, and the sellers signed off on that. That means that they have agreed, they've promised they're going to leave all the light fixtures in the house. And if they do take it, that's another reason I want everyone to do a walk around before they purchase the day before or the day of closing. Is because some sellers might be sneaky and they just forgot. They're humans. They might forget. They just took something like a small light fixture just because they loved it so much. They might take it, and that's why you can say, well, you took it. Well, in the contract, you said no. You said you will leave all the light fixtures, and now that light fixture is broken or is missing. I mean, you have to either give it back to us, or you have to pay us the amount, how much it's worth for us to get a new one. One of my friends, when they did their walk arounds, they noticed that the ceiling fan, the same house, the owners took the ceiling fan off and off the master room, and they said, and the seller and the buyers had to tell their agents to tell the seller's agent, well, you guys took the ceiling fan. It's in the contract. All light fixtures have to stay in the house, and the owners had to give them a little bit of compensation, a little bit, because this is a really cheap fan, anyways. They had to give them some compensation for the fan that they took. I know we're going past the hour. I slated this for 2 hours. Are there any questions? Because I've pretty much gone over pretty much as much as I can. Please, is there any questions, any comments, any concerns or anything before we wrap this up? I'll give everyone a little time to type up their comments or anything. I want to thank all of you for taking your time off, taking some time off to listen to my live stream. I appreciate you all for that. And to thank you, I am entering. I want everyone that's here to please comment, say present or something, just so I know you were here. And then you'll be automatically entered to win a $5 to $10 gift card. There'll be one winner who will do that, will win a gift card. And I'll send it out personally with a little thank you note saying, if you don't want a gift card, I can PayPal you the money or something, just as a little thank you note to you all for coming. So thank you again for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I am based in Pittsburgh, but I try my best to cover everything in the whole US. Please subscribe. I'm going to do another giveaway once I hit 100 subscribers. So it'll be a good giveaway. So please stay tuned for that one. Please subscribe. As you might know, I'm only in 10th grade. I'm trying my best. I'm an intern. I'm trying to get my license, but I also have my schoolwork to do. So I might not post too much, but I try my best to post. And I actually have a post that I'm posting on. Oh, I apologize. This brings me to a really important thing that I forgot, that I want to bring out to everyone. I apologize. There's when you counter your offer, counter back from the inspections, there's gonna be 2 papers. I this is the only thing I know because I've only done this in Pennsylvania. Um, so I don't know in the other states if they have it or not. But there's two forms basically. One form is a BRI, and the second form is the STA. A BRI is a buyer's response to inspections report. It's gonna say uh, um, we want my clients or the buyer wants to fix this to be fixed 7 days before closing, and we might say that they might say that there's a section that says we want the purchase price to be decreased from this amount to this amount, and then the buyer would have to sign that first page, and then it would go to the seller. Comes back to negotiate, and there's also the second page. That's the CTA, and the CTA is just a reiteration of all the things that the buyer wants to be fixed, and if and or the price to be decreased. That form will never be sold. Form will be given to the seller, but not given to the a real the that will be given to the seller, but not for the seller to sign. The BRI is the only thing for the seller to sign, and that's why another point I bring out: make sure if you put any repairs onto the property, onto the BRI. That's why I say do the walk around. It's at the day of or before closing, just to make sure they did all the repairs. If not, you can ask for more money down off the price just to cover up the repairs. Which makes me to one last point that I just realized. There, if you are a buyer, if you take too long to purchase a house, or if the agent is just not the most trustful agent, trusting of their clients, they might they might make you sign what's called a contract, and that's basically ensuring them that you are going to work with them. And if you don't, and during that contract, and if you don't, and you work with someone else, you can get sued for that. And there is something that I want you to see. You want to be careful. There is a section that says how much the real agent is gonna be entitled. They can say there's one agent. I can't say what their name is because I can get sued for this. They said, well, we're gonna charge you 1 month's rent if you during that contract, if you rent a house, if you rent something, you have to pay us the 1 month rent. And during the if you buy a house, that agent said you will either pay us $6,000 or 3% of the purchase price. If the seller, because some sellers only are willing to give out 2.5%, so that means that agent was asking for the additional 0.5% that you have to cover. They're saying that we're not gonna take 2.5%, we're gonna take 3%. So if they only offer you 2.5%, you're gonna have to put in 0.5% of your own money or $6,000, whichever is greater. You have to pay them that. That was something that was very that we almost missed, but I looked to that, and I helped out, and I said, well, we cannot sign this contract. This is not right. This is a terrible contract, because I've seen other agents who say, well, and they had us locked in for 2 years. How ridiculous is that, 2 years. And they said that we didn't sign it, obviously, but we had another agent that I knew. They said, well, because it was only like 3 months away from the last year, and they said, well, I'm gonna only make you lock with me for 3 months from the day that we signed this contract until the day we at the end of the year. So again, thank you all for watching. Please enter your names. You're gonna be entered into a $5 card giveaway. I will send them, I promise. Anything, please subscribe. I'll be doing another giveaway at about 100 subscribers. This is my dream. I'm able to do this, so please help me out. This is my dream. It's a dream come true to be able to do this and to get at least already 15 subscribers. And this is just the first year I'm doing this. It's very helpful, and I'm very grateful for everyone who is subscribing or has subscribed today. Please subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Please stay safe. I will be doing the giveaway today for attending, and the 100 subscribers giveaway. Please stay safe. Have a great night. Have a great holiday season coming up. And thank you all for watching today. I'm so grateful for all of you. Please, thank you so much. Please stay safe, everything. Please. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Um, One last thing before I forget. I If you want, I will actually be doing a. I want to do this actually. I just realized this. I'm going to give everyone my Instagram. Um, or if you know, some of you might have talked to my manager, Alex Tran. He's my manager, and you might have registered through him, got the link from him. I'm going to tell him to put on his story or something, and I'll give you my Instagram. Go to my story or his story, and we will be do or message us, PM us, saying that if you want to us to do a real estate class. We're thinking about doing a weekly, once a week real estate class where we talk about real estate like we did today. But obviously, I can go more in detail because I'm restricted on time today. But we can go more in detail. One day is just one subject. Please tell me if you would like to do that. If you would like that to happen. Thank you so much again for watching. Thank you so much for staking with me. Thank you so much for subscribing. This is such a dream to come true to be able to do this. Please don't think this is scripted. This is actually coming off my mind as I'm saying this. I'm just making this up as I go. So please, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all of you for watching. Please join. Please subscribe. Please do whatever just to get me to this goal. This is just a dream. Please stay safe. Have a great holiday season. Have a great night. And I'll see you soon, I hope. Bye. Oh, and if you want to comment anything, I'm actually going to be on the comment section for a little bit after we leave. If you want to comment anything, so I will be checking my comments for about 5 minutes, and then we will be and then I will go off. And then if you ever need anything, just PM Alex Tran, and I will comment my Instagram right now. And after I end it, and just don't ever hesitate to call me, text me, do it. Just don't always call me. I might not always answer. Just text me, email me, do anything you want. Contact me if you have any other questions. Thank you so much, and have a great night. Bye bye.